And so our clients are the reason that we do everything. Everything is led by the client. And as we all know in business, the client, the consumer, is changing. And as a brand or as a company or as a business, we always have to pay attention to what is happening with the consumer. What are they looking for? What do they want? Because the minute we do not address that need is the minute we've lost focus of who's really paying our salary. And who's really paying our salary are the people that we serve. And for Dermalogica, it's the clients who come to the skincare centers who we supply. And what I've learned about women over these years is that women lead differently. Not better, certainly not worse, but we lead differently. I think of myself as a pirate. One of the gifts that my team gave me in the early years was a Jolly Roger flag, which we ran up the flagpole and fly with the stars and stripes just as proudly, because it reminds me to be a little bit rebellious and to always look at the horizon and to always know that you're going to be attacked from one side or the other, and that's okay. And at the end of the day, ultimately, when you're a pirate, it's all about Johnny Depp. I mean, honestly, I actually think all roads lead to Johnny Depp, or as we call him at Dermalogica, Mr. Deppalicious. I mean, I am not interested in seeing this next Pirates of the Caribbean movie, other than the fact that they've told me he basically is in every scene. I can't tell you any of the storylines of the previous 3 or 5 or whatever. I'm not paying any attention. I'm just looking at him. So there you have an insight into my psyche. But women lead differently, and this is just an interesting illustration that I saw. So this is one of our past Secretaries of State, Colin Powell, extremely well respected. I loved his book. And he was meeting the president of South Korea. And there they are, and shaking hands, and all very good. However, I then saw a photograph taken of our current Secretary of State, almost said president, Freudian slip. Wait 6 years. Anyway, when she flew to Chile to meet the president of Chile. How interesting. President of Chile is meeting Secretary Clinton. She had just stepped off the plane. She flew to Chile after the earthquake, and she said, "How can we help?" And what she's really saying in that photograph, and it was caught spontaneously, she's saying, "How can I help?" And it was one woman meeting another woman, and I thought, how different a photograph, and what a story is told just in that photograph. And you have this photograph in your life too, of you helping someone else. And at the end of the day, as a planet, it basically all comes down to this. It's really not about a country or a policy, it's really about how are we going to help each other, because none of us are isolated. I think as a woman, as a leader, as a business owner, as a woman in business or an entrepreneur, the first lesson I would ever share with anyone that would care to listen is, as a woman, be 100% the real deal. 100% who you are, no one else. Oscar Wilde once said, "Be yourself because everyone else is taken." And he should have known. We are women. We should embrace it, share it, live it, and give it. So I think in the 70s, probably into the 80s, women maybe felt in order to compete, they had to behave like a man, or dress like a man, or have the behavioral attitude of a man. It's actually incorrect, because you're always second best then, because you're not a man. Unless, gentlemen, you are, in which case, carry on. You see, that's not authentic, and if you're not authentic, you don't own your power. Owning our power, any of us, men or women, is about being authentic to who you are, to be really, really real in your truth. That this is who I am, warts and all, this is my story, this is where I've come from, this is what I've learned, and this is what I can offer. Because that's unique and that's rare. That's our gift that we've been given, each one of us. So never think, it's a man's world out there. What? Only if we say that. We have to, I saw the quote when we went to the show this morning at the radio. There was a quote by Gandhi. Did you notice as we walked in? Be the change you wish to see in the world. It's a very famous quote. We have to be the change we wish to see in the world. When we become it and own it, it starts to happen. And so that starts with us. to be 100% real and authentic. And we know women are multitaskers. This looks kind of dangerous, but I can't say that I haven't done it. So we're multitaskers. We do 100 things at one time. My eldest sister, Diana, once I must have been moaning about Raymond dropping socks or something on the way to the laundry. I don't know what it was, some silly thing. And she said to me, you know, Jane, you're missing something. And I said, what? She said, you think he dropped the sock and then purposely didn't pick it up. He never saw it. And it kind of went click. He was focused on one thing. He didn't notice the sock, and the sock doesn't really even matter. But it was quite a good life lesson because we're constantly thinking about everything, aren't we? Constantly in our hairbrain. What am I doing? Where am I going? Where are they? Did they tweet me? Did they text me? Did I pick them up? Did I forget them? I once went to a family dinner with another family, and Lucy had fallen asleep in the back of the car, and it was 25 minutes before I realized that I didn't have my second child with me. But at least Alyssa didn't leave her on a bus or something. Anyway, she was fine. And we also know that we are intuitive, that gut feeling that we talk about. And never apologize for that. Be unapologetic about that. Be intuitive. I don't believe that women are more intuitive than men. I believe that we will act on it more. And there's a difference. I don't believe we're any more intuitive, but I do believe we act on it more. We will trust it more. And I trust it a lot. When I have a feeling about something, I go with it. Why not? All the data in the world doesn't equal an original idea. You can show me any kind of spreadsheet you want to. You can tell me any focus group you want to about what people really want in skincare. And I always say to our marketing team, if Henry Ford had held a focus group, they would have told him they needed a faster horse. Because they never would have thought of a car. All the data, all the research in the world does not add up to an original idea. And if you've got a good idea and you think this is special and different, go for it. And if people tell you you're crazy, you shouldn't do it, I think it's quite good validation to actually go and do it. Be a pirate. Just because nobody thought of it doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. I remember when we were going to launch Dermalogica, and we had made a few friends by that stage. We had a couple of years in the States. And people said, but wait a minute, if this is such a good idea, how come nobody's done it? To which Raymond would say, because nobody's done it. Isn't that obvious? So don't let that deter you. But you can be a pioneer. You can do something different, even in an industry that's very solid and staid. And trust me, we have some major doyens in my industry who don't like change, who want everything to stay the same. And so sometimes you just have to be brave and put your stake in the ground and say, I'm going for it, because I trust this, I really believe in it, and I'm passionate about it. And that's enough. That's good enough. And so most importantly, I think as women, that we lead differently, that we are intuitive, that we are multitaskers. We all know that. I believe now, in today's marketplace, in today's economy, in today's business world, most importantly, we're storytellers. And this is really critical. Because as I look at the landscape of how we're building businesses now and how we're being successful in business now, being a great storyteller has never been more important.